What's up, fam? This is your Professor Karima Lotus with another episode 8 of BBI Talks. And this is where Black business owners come together and discuss the issues that matter to us. Yes. So today, if you don't know, our topic is twerking culture and the Black business. Oh, yes, y'all. I know you've seen it. It's all over Instagram, all YouTube, name it. It's probably made CNN. But we're going to talk about it today through the lens of business. And so this is I haven't really heard that we're going to discuss today, okay? And I have a special guest who is joining today. He actually is a author. We're going to talk about his book as well. And thank you for joining BB Talks. We're Rock Brother, and we are going to get it in on this conversation. Are you ready for us? All right, here we go.
We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad. They gotta react, cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man. Get what I need out the land. The earth is the kingdom of God. Glad that I know where I am. We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad. They gotta react, cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man. I can supply you the man. Get what I need out the land. Glad that I know where I am.
All right now, so we are ready, Brother Rico. How you doing, Black man?
I'm doing all right. Thank you so much for inviting me to have this conversation with you on your show. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, brother. Thank you. The honor is mine. And of course, I have to give some love. I have to send some love to your cousin and my bestie, LaJonta, a.k.a. Dimples. So thank you so much for connecting us. We love you. We thank you and we appreciate you because you knew who to call, Sister LaJonta. So here we are. Brother Rico, first I want you to introduce yourself and kind of tell everybody about what it is that you do in terms of your business, your book, and other ventures that you have going on. So the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Rico Rivers. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I've resided here in Dallas for the past 12 and a half years. I'm a master's level social worker for the past 24 and a half years. I've worked with substance abuse clients as well as mental illness,
Wow.
Those who suffer with co-occurring disorders, meaning they have a drug addiction and diagnosed with bipolar disorder, major depression, bipolar 2, all of the mood disorders. And what I do, what I've been doing since the pandemic is putting together my own situation through Zoom. So I've been putting it out there to accept clients who are in need of substance abuse counseling, and I'll have a conversation about anything surrounding substance use. So the topic can go anywhere. And you brought up the book. That is a short story that I put together from an actual manuscript that I wrote back in '98. It was a chapter that was about like 4 pages long. So I took it out on short, and it's entitled "This Pain Never Felt." And it's about me meeting my father for the first time and how that went, and finding out the incident. 22 and the first time at age 39. So just stuff like that. That's all I'm into, just peacefully imaging. And I think I'm still on because I don't have you anymore. So.
Are you there with me? Here
Okay,
we go.
I'm still
Okay, I
here.
think we left off on you also have a book that you wrote
Yes.
back in '98, the
Here's the
manuscript.
manuscript I put together. It was supposed to be journaling because during that time, from like '96 to 2002, I was suffering with depression and drinking a lot, and so I got tired of waking up with tears in my eyes every other morning. And so I decided to take my own advice that I learned in graduate school, that is journal my thoughts, and it turned into a 140-page manuscript of me talking about childhood stuff. I'll just say that. And that father thing
Yes.
was a part of the childhood thing.
Okay, and Brother Rico, if you wouldn't mind speaking just a little bit louder.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Can you speak a
Or
little
should
bit
I?
louder so we can hear you?
Yeah. Let me. Maybe I take my
I need
earpiece
you.
out.
Yeah, I need you to talk pretty loud. It might seem like you're yelling, but so everybody can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello. Can you hear me now? Barely. Can you still? Hello. Hello. Hello.
So you may have to. Yep, I can hear you better, but you may have to mute me so that there's no looping going on.
Mute you. Hold on. Let me put these back on. Then maybe that's what it is.
Okay, you ready?
Can you hear me now? How about now?
You there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I can.
You can hear me
Perfect.
now?
Okay, so you were
Okay.
saying.
I was just basically talking about how the short story came about from the manuscript, and the chapter on my father in the manuscript took up a lot of pages.
Yes.
So I decided to make it an individual short story, which turned out to be 40 pages of when I found out about him by accident. And when I met him in person for the first time at age 39, when I just went on to found his house on Google and MapQuested out there, and the very first thing he asked me was, "How did you find me?" I told him through MapQuest and Google, and he says, "Well, I have to give you an A for effort because I've worked aggressively over the years to prevent you from ever finding me." So that's how that 2.5-hour conversation took
Wow.
place. So, yeah, among other things, yeah, but yeah.
What a thing to hear from your biological father.
Mm-hmm. And so, but I was prepared for that because I'd been talking about him over the years, but he never wanted to meet. So that was our first time actually meeting face to face. But I was prepared
Who probably couldn't
spiritually.
hear because of technical challenges. Brother wrote a manuscript, which is now an ebook that is available for you to purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much how that on that little piece how that went. If they like to ask any more information, just email me at mariko_r@yahoo.com, and we can take care of it.
Awesome. And then they can get their hands on that book. I was just giving them just the rundown about how your manuscript came from your own personal experience of trying to find your biological father. You finally find him, and he tells you worked really, really hard to find me, and I tried my best not to be found. And I said, boy, that's a blow to come to grips with when you're trying to find your biological parent. And so it brought you to your manuscript, which I'm sure just from that part of the story that you shared alone is something that we definitely want to get our hands on. So today's topic, twerking culture and the Black business. Now, I'm sure you've seen, because on your YouTube, you also talked about this. You're actually in Dallas, Texas right now, right?
Yes. Yes.
So for those who are not aware as to what happened, basically there is a restaurant by the name of True Kitchen and Cocktails. And it's a restaurant, right?
Yes.
And everybody knows it's a restaurant.
Yes. Yes.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you really well. I think yours is going out. Yeah.
Okay.
go,
Okay.
Yeah, you go in and out.
So everybody knows it's a restaurant, Brother Rico, right?
Yes, ma'am. Is there a delay?
It's not a club.
No.
It's
It's an upscale restaurant. That's how it's been advertised. That's
okay.
It
looks like we're having some challenges here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a club. It's not any of those things. It is obviously a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
And
yes.
There were a few young ladies that were Black women that were in the restaurant. That there's a live DJ there who is spinning current music, like a lot of places do, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It was an upscale restaurant, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, if you go to their website now, True Kitchen and Cocktails, I mean, you can see this is a beautiful restaurant, y'all. Like, and that fish, the fish that they have, that fried fish, it looks really, really good. Like, that's a spot I would want to go to. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, just the building, it looks like it's been renovated. Everything is brand new. The furnishings are brand new. I mean, well decorated. I mean, it's laid out.
Yes. Yeah, I know I'm going to make
right?
a reservation.
So,
yeah, I plan. Yeah.
So you plan to go out there soon? I mean, hey, the moment
After
I step
the pandemic,
foot, you know, a touch ground in Dallas, Texas, I'm going to try there as well.
Yes.
So the DJ is playing music, and these young ladies decide, and actually I could even say young ladies, they're, you know, these are grown women, right?
Yeah. Yes.
They decide that they're going to start to twerk. I think the song that was playing was a song by Megan Thee Stallion. Wow.
I know.
Which we're not going
It's
there.
not Megan.
Okay.
It's not Megan Thee Stallion.
So,
no, it wasn't. It wasn't Megan Thee Stallion.
So WAP is playing, and oh, it wasn't. Who was it?
It's another rap. It's called "Throw That A in a Circle," and it's it could be YouTube.
Oh, it wasn't Megan. My apologies, Megan.
No, it's not Megan.
It was "Throw Your Behind in a Circle." That was the name of the song.
Yes. Yeah. If you look it up on YouTube, you have to do the A. Throw that A in a circle. Yeah. And
throw that A in a circle. That's the name of the song. Okay.
Yeah.
And so she thought that she was supposed to get up and begin to throw her A in a circle.
In a circle. Yes. Yes.
In a circle.
Yeah,
okay.
The spirit moved.
I don't know if we would say whether or not we know that song or not.
But, I doubt it.
Okay, now, so the owner. So what does the owner do first? Because there's a video that's circulating, Brother Rico, right?
Yes.
That shows what you're going to get to. That shows the owner going on this rant. But was that the first time that he actually came out and talked to them?
No, according with his own words, he said that he had spoken to them at least 3 times. And so we pick up where he goes off on them in the rant. So that's where the video picks up at. I think there are other people out there who have a video of him, warning them before he got on his rant.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he came out on 3 different, well, actually the 3rd time was the rant. So he came out 2 times before that to ask the young ladies, can you please stop twerking in the restaurant, right?
Standing on my couch.
So by the 3rd time, on his sofa in their heels is what he said.
And holding, he pressed their hands
on
against
his
the
furniture.
glass. Yes.
And pressing her hands against the glass like they do, I'm sure, in a strip club. I've never been to one, but I would suspect that kind of behavior is done there, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just being real. I haven't been to a strip club. That was not my life. Some people, they like that. Especially here in Atlanta, you find women and men that go to the strip club. That just was never my thing.
I've never been to one either.
You know, and personally, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. But hey, okay, so here, this Black-owned business. It's a beautiful establishment. Throw your A in the air. So let's start there with the music selection.
Yes.
All right. So how did this even end up in the playlist?
Well, now that you'll have to probably ask the owner. I'm sure he was playing other songs, but that just happened to come up, and that is the one like the Pavlovian dog. You heard the bell and they reacted, because that is a song that is really deep into the club culture, and women really love that. Women love that song. They love twerking songs, and that is one of the slower twerking songs. It has a very robust rhythm to it, if you will, and when it's telling me directly what to do, throw it in a circle, and they know exactly what to do, and it's like a hit. And the woman probably couldn't even help herself, because music does dictate behavior, and it does serve as a shocker to that precludes motivational behavior. So a song can do that. So you hear your favorite song, all of a sudden, boom, just play music with a little kid in the room. They'll just start moving. Don't know what they're doing. It's subconscious even. So I'm just throwing extra stuff in there, but I'm trying to meet her halfway. But yeah, she got up and he told her, and she was just rolling her body around in a circle, and there were women cheering her on, and all of these things. And so he pretty much gave everybody the 411, if you will.
Now, this establishment, from our understanding, is known for having a lot of women that go there. Yeah. Do you know exactly what the draw is exactly?
Well, I'm going by everything that he presented, because I didn't know the place was open. So I've read everything and watched his videos. And basically what he said was, we opened up a nice place, and my business primarily is catered to ladies. 75% of my customers are ladies, and so it's a very nice place. It's considered high end, and ladies like to go out and dress nice and want to be somewhere where ambiance is such, and so the food, the menu, if you've checked out some of the food on the menu, and also what I heard on the radio when they were interviewing him, that the drinks were especially extra strong, and so we like robust and strong drinks at these bars and restaurants.
Has anyone ever asked the question as to whether or not the women were drunk?
No, Noah, that has not come up. And I you know what, that's a good question. Is something to ponder, because alcohol does cause us to loosen up, if you will, do things that we ordinarily wouldn't do, and with the right song,
your inhibitions,
exactly. And with the right song, it just is like if you were, let's say you were dating and went home with a man, and he was serving, as Teddy Pendergrass said, cold wine, and it got into your body, and all of a sudden, you start to loosen up, and there's the evening. And so, but in the nightclub atmosphere, when a particular song comes on, and baby has her drink in her hand that she's halfway done with, or the second drink, and it's get loose time. And so she thought on a Sunday night at 7:45 p.m. that it was okay for her to get up and throw it in a circle. But also, I don't go to church, but I remember Sundays as being, kind of particularly a day where you're kind of conservative, where you kind of relax and calm down. So I was like, who's playing that song on a Sunday evening? So
on a Sunday.
Exactly.
That's I know. Church
song. That's, I wonder, did she go to church that morning? I wonder, was she part of morning worship? I bet she sings in the choir. So
okay, so now as a business owner, right? My husband and I, we had this conversation yesterday when we first saw the news drop, right? And I have to admit, Brother Rico, I was hot. And I was hot because there was a local DJ here in Atlanta who was talking about this situation. And I felt like he was being an apologist for the young women, or for the, I keep saying young women, they're not young, but to the women
30.
who were twerking. Yes. Right. Okay. So they're not millennials. Okay. Not that it would be acceptable if they were. However, it would be a different type of conversation. We would have to like really begin to understand the culture of millennials, right? Of what they perceive as being appropriate, inappropriate, and then have that cross-generational conversation. But these are women who knew better. These are women who knew they were in a restaurant, right? But one of the things that I wanted to kind of highlight based upon the conversation that we had yesterday is that I felt like the DJ was blaming the owner of the restaurant by saying he was too harsh on the women. And I was outraged, to be honest with you, because I think he was a lot more calm than I would have been. Okay. Especially if I'm just being honest. I mean, it's not, first of all, it's not easy for us as Black men and Black women to open up any kind of establishment. Okay. Let's be real. Any business we go into, we face challenges, obstacles, barriers. That is our reality in this country, right?
Yes.
Then on top of that, he makes the conscious effort to build this or to open this restaurant in downtown Dallas. So that means he's paying crazy rent, or he may have purchased the building and paid crazy money to own the building. I don't know what his situation is, but he definitely made a substantial investment into this restaurant. Okay. Yes. Even if you go to his website with his branding, he put in a lot of money into this establishment. Okay. Yeah. So from his rant, I gathered that he loves the community. He loves Black people. He wanted to establish something that was nice for us, that we could go to, that we could be ourselves and enjoy the food and enjoy the music and just have a place that we can go to, right? And be welcomed.
Yes.
So I can imagine if he's in the back handling business and he comes out the first time and this lady is twerking the first time, he handled her pretty calm. You know what? I'd appreciate if you wouldn't twerk in my restaurant, right? This is not that kind of party. Yeah. He leaves. That was that. Second time he comes out, I would really appreciate if you would please stop twerking in my restaurant. That's the second time, y'all. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I got a grandma from the South. May God be pleased. You didn't get 2 times to put your feet up on her sofa on her coffee table.
Her anything.
You got one time. You got one time. Matter of fact, that was a part of the home training, okay?
That's right.
So then a third time rolls around. Not only are these women twerking, but they got their hands up on the wall. She got her heels digging into his brand new sofas. She's gyrating her butt. And his Brother Rico, I don't know what I wouldn't have said. Okay.
Well, maybe it's a good thing he said it.
Being honest. Then look, Professor Karima Lotus would have been gone, and Nene from Co-op City Section 2 would have came out.
Whoa.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah. It was a lot.
I don't know what I wouldn't have said. It was a lot
for him.
I mean,
it was a lot for him.
It was a lot for him. And really, as an owner, you're beginning to see your investment go down the toilet, right? Because once you have an establishment that starts to get a certain reputation, it is very difficult to call that back.
Yes.
What do you think about it, brother?
I think that based on all that I've watched or listened to in his interviews, he's catching he's getting a lot of support. Let's put that out there first. He's getting a lot of support. His business, people thinking that his business may be affected by it negatively, but no, he actually announced that he has about 3,000 people with reservations on hold, standing in line. And then there are people across, yeah, and then there are people on Facebook, even of my friends and people who are not my friends, are vowing to travel to Dallas just to visit his restaurant. And
that's
and some,
love. Oh, I
yeah.
love it.
And so they're coming from all over just to meet him. And I want to go in there to shake his hand and say hello. And for me, it's very important for me as a black man. And I'm going to say this because this is when we're under the now Biden administration, a heterosexual, masculine black man, because that is the number one threat. There's always been under racism, white supremacy. It's the masculine, heterosexual black male. And so we are coming out there, or coming out one by one after the pandemic, to let him know we support you. And also shout out to the sisters who are logical and who are fair in this event, in their observation. Because a lot of sisters who are very fair in this, they're like, that's right. But you have this loud minority of people who have access to a lot of the media, and they give them platforms to be attack dogs, especially when it's black men. And so you have this this feminist liberal left made up of sisters, so-called Black Twitter. I don't know. Someone needs to tell me what Black Twitter is so I can find it and join in on the conversation. And they have LGBT, whoever that is, LGBT, and I'm assuming the black female members of the LGBTQP, P is in pedosexual pedophiles. They're coming at him saying he should be canceled and all that. But I think those who support him across social media, our voices are louder than theirs, and we are almost like saying, we dare you. We dare you, because this is one brother that we're not going to allow you to take down because your feelings were hurt. And he apologized for using the F word. And a lot of sisters are like, well, it's all right, but they want to run off of that. Well, he shouldn't have said it like that. Well, how do you say it to grown people when you said it to them twice or three times already? And he was talking about, he was talking about what you were talking about. I put money in this. This is my livelihood. I provide jobs. And also my general manager is a black woman. The host is a black woman. I think half the cooks are black women. He employs probably 87% black women. So he was just letting them know, look, don't ruin this for me. Beautiful. And it came out that way.
Right.
So I'm for it.
Absolutely. Not only don't ruin it for him, but also don't ruin it for the community. Because the reality of it is we will be the first one to say, how come we don't have any nice black-owned businesses in our neighborhood? Why do we have to travel to, where the Caucasians are in order to have a nice restaurant, right? That's the thing. That's the question we keep asking each other. And so here, this brother has made a conscious and intentional, and I keep saying this because there are black-owned business leaders who make conscious and intentional decisions to invest in our communities. And so I'm glad to hear that he's getting that level of support there. But I can tell you, brothers, like you said, that minority, that loud minority that has something very controversial to say about him.
Yes.
I'm a big supporter of this brother. I appreciate the fact that he put his foot down. You may not like the language that he used or what have you, but he put his foot down. And I think that's the part that concerns me most about this, is that when we are out of order, we have, because of this cancel culture that has kind of come about in 2020, we cancel people who correct us when we're out of order. And that's not culturally, as a people, as black people, that's not our way. We correct each other. That's what we do.
Yes.
That we learned that from the time we're children, generally speaking, right? What grandma say? Where you throw out is what?
Where I show out. Yeah.
Where you show out, get you get put out, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
You act up in public. Yeah, you act up in public. You get popped in public. That's what we do. That's how we keep ourselves within a certain standard of behavior. And so in our businesses, it has to be the same. Absolutely. Absolutely. So another question that I have for you, Brother Rico, is, you know, I'm glad that we are, generally speaking, giving him the support, booking for his restaurant. Has there been any talk about bringing the two parties back together in a mediated type environment to discuss this issue, to bring some sort of resolution? Was that anything that came up?
Now that's something. Now that's another great question. These are questions because see, right now we're still going through the fever of what has happened, and that what you asked is what's called an after the storm question, a resolutionary question. And that is a great question, and I'm wondering if that's going to be done or if it's been done. I think when he's done doing his media apology tour for saying, you know, for using that
media apology tour,
they may, because it goes back to because you know that is, I think that as far as he's gone, which I can appreciate. But they have not shown a picture of the lady yet. Who is she? I like to see who she is. I saw the back of her.
Right. We all saw the back of her.
Is she a person, a whole person? Yeah. So no, that I haven't heard anything, but I'll definitely keep my ear to the ground to hear of that conversation post on my Facebook page. But I want to go into this.
Yeah.
What that whole attack is really about keeping black men in their place, because we moved into this cancel culture and this attack on masculinity, and the society has armed the particular women through the Me Too movement and all this stuff to say, hey, as soon as you hear anything you don't like, you know, especially if it sounds masculine, I'm going to arm you and equip you, try to shut it down. And I think that has been the norm, or the okay given for the past 5 or 6 years. And I think with this incident, this brother, he doesn't even realize that he's done something very revolutionary. He went against the feminist machine in this country. He went against it and said, no, I'm not going to allow you to push me around. With that statement to members of our community, but unfortunately, a lot of sisters of our community are feminists. They're not family, they're feminine. And when I can ask any one of those sisters in that restaurant, or anyone who has a problem with what he said, I can ask them, you ever heard of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing? They're going to say no. You ever heard of Dr. Julie Hare? They're going to say no. You ever heard of Sister Shahrazad Ali? They're going to say no. You ever heard of Dr. Cynthia McKinney, Michelle Alexander, Dr. Joy Leary? They're going to say no. Because the reason they don't know about these women, but they know about Michelle Obama, is because those women talked about the black family and the importance of the black male and the black male child. So the feminists doesn't care about no male children. They think that the world's supposed to be all, and men need to bow down, wear all pink clothes. That's pretty much. So when he did that, he really sent a spark out there, in my opinion.
I think you bring up a very interesting point, Brother Rico. That is definitely one of many underlying topics that we need to flesh out. One of the things I was thinking about historically is the white feminist alliance aligning themselves, or really forcing black women in politics to align themselves with white feminists in order to move the women's suffrage movement forward. And there was a conversation between leadership that took place that really was more of a bullying than it was a collaboration. If we're just going to get to the meat of it, right? And so in the midst of that, and it goes back to this Black culture. And I think at some point we need to bring somebody on the show so we can really kind of unpack that. But when we're talking about Black culture, right? Our women, unlike in terms of our relationships to Black men, don't have the same combative relationship that white women have with white men. They have a different culture. They have a different way of communicating with their men versus the communication style that we typically have with the Black man. Does that make sense? And so my concern is as we are adopting their way, their cultural ways, I think it causes us to move forward, perhaps politically, move forward or advance things economically, but I'm concerned about the advancements morally. That's what I'm concerned about. So you can be a strong Black woman in the workplace, right? But be a harlot at night. You can be a strong Black
hard
woman
to deal with at home.
Yeah, who asserts herself, but then be a part-time in terms of the mentality, other than a thought or ratchet, right?
Ratchet.
That type of alignment is not culturally conducive to our way of life, right? And so the question is, why are we adopting these things? Because, and you may say, well, you know, Professor Lotus, we're talking about twerking culture in Black businesses, but these things relate to this topic because at the end of the day, we're talking about women who felt it was okay, that it was acceptable, that it was appropriate to move out on this impulse, right? And let themselves do whatever it is that their desires, you know, prompt them to do. And that they believe that should be done uninhibited, without correction, without any kind of standard being imposed. And when you're talking about this movement of women with certain really ideological positions that are supporting that behavior in the name of, as a feminist, I believe a Black woman should be able to gyrate her body in public with no type of restraint or restriction or correction.
Exactly.
I question that. I question that. Is that really, even if you say you're a Black feminist, is that really Black feminism?
Well,
does Black feminism really mean having no moral compass?
I think that what has happened is, and you mentioned how the white feminists, weasel their way into or wedge their way in between Black men and Black women during the civil rights movement. If you notice all the pictures, Black men and Black women were holding hands marching. They were holding hands even as they were being hosed and dogs sicked on them. They were holding hands. But somehow the white female, and we have to always be mindful of this, every group uses Black people for numbers. And they'll throw you a few trinkets. They'll throw you a few trinkets to kind of lure you in. And with that being said, the white woman who's always had her difference with the white male, because the white male can't stand nobody. He can't even stand his own women. Hence, she wasn't even allowed to vote along with us until like 1919. Then Black folks officially 1965, 66. And women didn't have any rights, not because of Black men, because the white men were running everything. So he's had a history of not liking anybody who's not a male, a white male. So having said that, they brought sisters into their argument. And like, we were both being plantation sisters. So why are you arguing or aligning yourself with her? That's not our business. That's between them. But unfortunately, they gave out the goods. Lyndon Baines Johnson gave out his welfare program, made a deal, and a lot of sisters volunteered and signed on to that. And then they continued to fund this, what we refer to as Black feminism, opening the door. Because if women and men want to be honest, women are not a threat to white supremacy. They're women. It's the men. Men are the ones who are battling. Men are at war, but they'll use the women as a pawn. And unfortunately, a lot of our sisters, the brightest minds with PhDs, master degrees, professional women, they've allowed these folks, as Sister Sherazade Ali speaks so eloquently, how they've allowed them to pull them out of the family and put them in the workplace and put them everywhere else but in the home. And so here we are today. We look at the numbers. A lot of sisters, at least up to 48% of Black women won't even know what marriage is. But 70% of them already know what being a baby mama is. That's totally out of order, totally out of our order culturally before we came over here. And so we have our young women on these college campuses taking these gender studies. And there's nothing positive about men in those doggone majors. And so we have a lot of our young Black women, 18, 19, 20 years old, all of a sudden out of their minds. I don't know what I am. I'm not binary. I'm not very binary. I'm cisgender and all this. What's all of this? We didn't have all this language until we allowed ourselves to be fully integrated, not only socially, but intimately into that culture. So here we are today, a big mess, for lack of better words. Yeah. Confused mess.
There's one point of, absolutely. And there's one point of clarity that I do want to make. You know, the Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that the home is a woman's base, not necessarily her place.
Right.
And I think it's important to make that distinction. We're not saying that women should not move into careers. That's not what we're saying. Yeah. But what we are saying is that there is a certain responsibility that a woman has within the home that should not be abandoned for career. Okay.
Yes.
And so as there is a responsibility that the man has over the family and in the home that should not be abandoned for career. So I think it's important to put that understanding out there. And for those who are not understanding the connection that we're making from a historical context, the brother, the owner of the restaurant, who has made very intentional strides in having Black female representation in every aspect of his business, from his management staff to his wait staff to his patrons. He was receiving a lot of backlash from the loud majority, as you call it, a minority, which I love that expression, the loud minority, that was saying, how dare he as a man, how dare he as a Black man correct these Black women for their inappropriate conduct in his restaurant. And that's why we're having this part of the dialogue, is to really kind of talk about and really unpack, well, where is this coming from? Right? Yes. So, Brother Rico, I've got another guest on here who's going to add to this conversation as well. She's out there and sits with you as well. Let's see if we can get her on. Hey, Naomi, you're live on BBI Talks. We can't see you.
You have to unmute her.
You there? She's got to unmute herself. Yes. Can you unmute yourself?
Done.
There we go. Hey, Naomi, we can hear you live on BBI Talks. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. How are you guys?
All right.
You there, Naomi?
I think he can hear me, but you can't for some reason.
It's the delay on her end.
Did you just change the connection? No?
Try going into GR.
It's not.
No, it's got a strong connection.
You there?
I am, but I can.
All right. Listen. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we Brother Rico, this is my cousin and my other bestie, Naomi. She is a real estate agent extraordinaire. I call her the closer.
Okay.
So if you're looking for beautiful real estate in Wiley, is her sweet spot. However, she can sell you property anywhere in the state of Texas, right, Naomi?
Absolutely.
Right on.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And that is Naomi Scarlett. Yay! Welcome. Look, one of these days I'm going to have one of those audience, Brother Rico, the
Yeah.
little drop.
Like Wendy
The
Williams.
audience.
Yeah.
Right. But for right now, yay!
Yeah. You got to get your sound effects board.
Yeah, I got a good one. But Naomi, we just kind of talked about a really interesting perspective that Brother Rico brought to the conversation. We was talking about how the owner of the restaurant was being pretty much, called out by these feminist groups. And they had a problem with him being a man, him being in particular a black man, correcting these women, black women who were had their hands up on the wall of his restaurant and moving their behinds in a circle while they stood on his sofa with their heels on. Oh, wow. And you have a very interesting background that you can kind of add to this conversation because you've ran a restaurant before, actually several. So you know what goes into running these restaurants. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you. He came out 3 different times. On the 3rd time is the rant that's circulating all over social media. So from your, professional experience, Naomi, how could this have gone a different way, or could it have?
Honestly, I was actually like coming to listen to you, so I'm not prepared for the story. So this was a regular. I'm just gonna look for some clarification. So this is a regular everyday restaurant, and these women were celebrating in some fashion, and they decided to start twerking. Is that what happened?
No, they were in the restaurant. The restaurant, like a lot of restaurants nowadays, they had a live DJ.
Okay.
And this particular restaurant is in downtown Dallas. A very nice restaurant. It's True Kitchen and Cocktails is the name of the restaurant. And a song by the name of, what is it, Brother?
Kelly Kelton. That's the owner's name.
No, what's the name of the song that was playing?
Oh, Throw That A in a Circle. Throw that A in a circle.
So the song was Throw That A in a Circle, right? So well, the manager, so the owner comes out the first time and he sees the women throwing the A in a circle, and he says, "Hey, pretty much, can you please stop?" He goes to the back. Second time he comes out, "Can you please stop?" He goes back. The 3rd time, not only are they throwing their A in a circle, but the women have their hands on the wall. They have their feet, their heels dug into his sofa, and they're throwing their A in a circle, right?
I mean, if it's a establishment that allows dancing, I don't think you can. I mean, as the owner, I guess you do have the right to say whatever it is you want to say, but you play that song, you kind of get what you're asking for. Honestly. Honestly, why play the song? I mean, if you're that against it, why not? Now, I'm not condoning what the young ladies are doing in any way, shape, or form, but at the same time, I mean, if you're making an environment conducive to the situation, I mean, how much are you really expecting the behavior to be?
Good point. So now, with that said, Naomi, because it's not a club, there's a restaurant here that my husband and I went to one time, and I would expect that kind of behavior at that restaurant that we went to. So let me kind of set the stage of what it was like. It's a Black-owned establishment. It's very nice. Serve great food, right? But as soon as you walk in through the front door, there's a DJ to your right, a DJ booth, and the music is crazy loud. Okay, crazy loud. Okay, and so my husband and I were sitting because we're getting to go. You know how we are. We don't want to sit in all of that, right? Too much going on. And so there were 2 mature women, 60, 55, 60, somewhere in that time, age group. And they were dropping it like it was hot. They were twerking. They were doing everything imaginable.
All right.
Okay, they were putting on a show. Okay, now they were both grossly inebriated.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's why I asked the question earlier, Brother Rico. Were these women
Yeah.
drunk?
They
Because
might
then
have been.
that's a
They
whole
might have
nother
been.
question, Naomi.
Yeah.
Like, if you can you are you supposed to serve someone until they're that drunk? I mean, as a restaurant owner, do you have the ability to say, okay, we need to cut this?
You have to. It's against the law to overserve
Oh, is it?
someone. Yeah, it's against the law to overserve someone. If they go out into the street and get into an accident or whatever the case may be, and it's found later that you were the establishment that overserved them, you are also liable criminally as well. And you get
Oh,
fined.
wow.
Yeah.
So who would fine you? Is that, and I need you to speak just a little bit louder so we can hear you.
I mean, like can you hear me better?
Yeah.
So the restaurants have a governing body here in Texas. It's Texas Alcohol and Beverage.
TABC.
Yeah, TABC. And so we would get fined by them, and then we would get brought into court as well.
Oh,
as far
wow.
as having overserved them, and could possibly lose your liquor license also.
So now, okay, so with that said, at what point can you tell a patron, you know what, you've hit your limit? Is it at the time that the person is showing that they're tipsy, or like how do you know? Or do you say 2 rounds for anybody who's at the restaurant? How do you, as a restaurant owner, limit that?
It's really a judgment call. You know your guest. You know when you're serving them from beginning to end, when things start to change. You know that they're not
Okay.
eating, enough food, or maybe they had an entire meal. So you can kind of assess the situation separately depending on each person. You know when it's time to cut them off.
So is that something that the server who was serving the women, let's say if they were, I don't know if they were drunk or not, but is that something that the server would then tell the owner, or how does that work? Or is that a judgment call that the server themselves make?
Every place is different. I can only tell you how we did it. We were allowed to cut our guest off if we had to. We would, of course, let the manager know, or they would let me know when I was manager. So every place is different, but you definitely, I mean, some places don't. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Some places don't cut people off, and they don't observe the proper rules. So it really just depends on the establishment and the owner and the rules that they enforce.
So when we're talking about what is it that, in this case, a Black-owned business owner can do differently to avoid this? Now, one of the things that a question that came to mind is, what is the difference between a restaurant, a lounge, and a club? And the reason why I'm asking this question is because in an effort to be more marketable to a younger generation, millennials in particular, right? There are certain things that those patrons are drawn to or attracted to, environments that they're attracted to, right? Just like any group, right? And so you find that there are a lot of restaurant owners that are trying to adopt certain elements into their restaurant to be more attractive. How does that work when you are a restaurant? And is there a difference between the restaurant, the lounge, and the club?
I mean, I would say there's a difference between just the group of restaurants. Like, you can enter into a restaurant and there are different levels of service and quality of food that you can expect depending on the restaurant that you enter into. So that's a whole other category in itself, and same with the lounge and the same with the club, right? So, but the difference between the three, I mean, like I said, I think, club is, you're expecting to dance. You're expecting to maybe see people with that type of behavior, unfortunately. Just kind of comes with the territory in those types of situations. A lounge, I don't know. Does the lounge, allow dancing? If the lounge allows dancing, then, that's something to think of too. And again, if you don't want that type of dancing, then don't play that kind of music. I mean, really. It's just like if the electric slide came on, what were they going to do? They were going to do the electric slide. So it just, I mean, if you don't want it, don't condone it.
But in all fairness, okay, you use the example of the electric slide, right? In all fairness, if I'm gonna use a Caucasian-owned establishment. If I'm at Houston's, or if I'm at the Cheesecake Factory, and the electric slide comes on, am I really gonna get up and do the electric slide?
But that's a restaurant. It's not a lounge.
Right. But from what brother's saying about True Kitchen and Cocktails, it's a restaurant. It's not a lounge and it's not a club.
But it has a live DJ.
So is that the distinction then? If you have a live DJ, that means that you can dance?
I mean, in the restaurant that I was manager at and worked at for many, many years, we had a live band, and it was not uncommon that maybe a couple would start dancing, you know, appropriately. But they would kind of like get into the music and they would start dancing. We wouldn't stop them. You know, it was nothing inappropriate. So, but that's different than just the auto track, right? So, you know, the auto track is just for background noise. You put a live band in there, you're going to maybe get some live action from the people who are there.
And one of the things I think you made a distinction is when you said there won't be any inappropriate dancing. So, and I might be dating myself a little bit, but let's say the band was playing I've Had the Greatest Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing. And that couple gets up there and starts doing the dirty dance.
Yeah. That's a possibility.
I'm being real, right?
It's a possibility.
Would that establishment stop them from dirty dancing?
I can only speak for myself. And again, it depends on the establishment. But I would say, yes, I would. I mean, I've stopped couples from making out and, you know, just anything that would feel uncomfortable in that environment. But again, all environments are different. So, I mean, honestly, like I said, I think it's up to the owner and his team of management to figure out what type of environment that they want and to enforce that situation. I don't really think, you know, it could be any restaurant. It could literally be any restaurant, but you set the tone for your guests and you set the expectation for your guests. And if that's not the expectation that he was not wanting to set, then first stop playing that music. That's just, I mean, seriously, just don't do it. Because then you don't have less of a chance of putting yourself in that situation. And then secondly, make sure your team knows to enforce certain behaviors, you know? So it's just, people are going to do what they're going to do regardless of where they are. And it's your job to set the tone.
He said that he knows that he's going to change the playlist. Because even in my video, I suggested that he pushes neo soul, something that brings the beauty out of our people instead of the booty out of our people. And he, but also the number one expectation is decorum, regardless of where you go. Because we've had plenty of restaurants that play music, and we've never seen that same woman get up and PF Chang or anybody else because of her song came on and started moving chairs out the way or standing on furniture. So he can play the music, but still, I have decorum. I'm an adult. I have self-control.
Right.
And I know this is not the place for that. And so, yeah, but that's a great suggestion. I made a suggestion, brother, change the music. But even if you don't change, they know it's a restaurant, so don't put your feet on my furniture, throwing your body around. And while people are still eating, you know, so that is the message out there that let's all behave as adults until until told otherwise. Hey, let me move the chairs around, ladies and gentlemen, because lounge, you know, like lounge bars and all that, and like the sister was saying, Naomi, it could, based on the owners, it can turn into whatever they want it to be. Because
that's true.
A lot of restaurants in the daytime are just restaurants, but But 9 o'clock, they move the tables to the back and all that, and we moving, man, moving and grooving in
Great
the same
point.
restaurant. Gloria's
Great
is
point.
a perfect example of one of those places. You have your delicious food in the daytime, but at night it's salsa all around that place. And with their strong drinks, by the way, they have some strong margaritas at Gloria's, man. So.
But you make a fantastic point with that. I need to honor all of my viewers. Thank you, Instagram. Let me go ahead and give this rundown. Thank you for the love, y'all. Thank you for hanging in there with us through all the technical challenges. Once again, Freckled and Veganish. Y'all need to check her out. She makes the bomb vegan food, y'all. She's on YouTube. Yasina Mariam, thank you so much for checking us out. Tracy 42, thank you. Ibrahim ATL, what's up, brother? Rachel Be Great 88, thank you so much for joining. BBI Talks. Who else? Baby Gods. Hey, Baby Gods, thank you for joining. Mariam's Voice, thank you for joining. Did I hit everybody? Thank you. Utter Bliss Luxury Hair. Oh, okay. Okay, y'all got the hair. Thank you so much for joining. And Ninth and Maxwell. Oh, next week, y'all. I can't wait. I have a secret that I got to let out today before we get out of here, okay? But Ninth and Maxwell, you're going to hear that name again. So please do not forget that, okay? Thank you for checking us out. Thank you for appreciating this discussion. You know, we try our best to bring topics that matter most. I want to give crazy love and crazy shout out to YouTube, to Facebook. Thank you for checking out this platform. We're trying to bring you conversations that mean something to you. Thank you to my guests, Brother Rico, Sister Naomi. Thank you for adding just great fullness and richness to this conversation. Okay, so now here's my next question, y'all. Y'all ready for this?
Yes.
Is there a difference in how we behave ourselves or conduct ourselves in a Black-owned establishment versus a white-owned establishment? Ooh.
You go first.
You can go first, Rico.
Hard about that question. Is there a double standard? Do we behave one way in a Black establishment and another way in a white establishment? Because I can't help but ask the question, if we were in Houston or Cheesecake Factory or P.F. Chang and swing
in a white area
around came on, would they have still gotten up and swung their A around and had their hands up on the wall and did all of that? Would they have done that?
Naomi?
First, I don't know. I figure if you do it one place, you'll probably do it somewhere else. So I have no idea.
Yeah.
I already know how you feel about this answer. I already know your answer. However, you know my answer. So I don't think you're the same person. You should be the same person no matter where you are. There is no Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and now there's mainly people with the same brown skin as me. So I should act some other way and more intelligent or more ignorant, and it doesn't matter. You should be the same person no matter where you are and who you're talking to.
I think that with us, we get so familiar with each other, and even so to the point that we unknowingly a lot of times don't bring in the professional respect or courtesy of our own business owners. It almost goes into when we go into a Black dress shop and say, "Oh, that dress cost that much. I'm gonna go over here to them and pay less over there." It's almost like that. You remember when people say they were living a code switching, the word that was used back in the day. When we are talking to each other, our language and our tones are such. Then when other people walk in the room, all of a sudden we sound like a bunch of Brads and Beckys. We just switch it up. And so when it comes to restaurant, we start turning to, like my friends were saying.
Oh, wow.
But first you were saying, my girlfriend was telling me, man, you know what? But soon they come in, all of a sudden, it's Tom and Siri Cruz up in here. So we tend to switch it up, and that's something that's been embedded in our brains for centuries. And research has been done about it. African-centered scholars have spoken about it, but when we integrated ourselves really deeply socially into society, a lot of us don't even know we're doing it. It's become so common. Just work, if you work in corporate America, work around a lot of white folks, check out your black coworkers. You'll see it every day. Except for me, I'm always me. I think that's probably why I don't have that many problems with Caucasian people, because I'm always me. And and I when Elijah Muhammad said back in the day the white man's the devil, I believed him. And so I've never changed from that. So therefore I don't have that many problems with that group. But no, they will not do it in the white restaurant that's located in Frisco or whatever the suburb of Atlanta is. If it's in a white area, no, they will not get up. They'll try to act as bougie with a capital B if they were in that restaurant to try to prove them that they're on their best behavior. I've seen it. That's how I know. But we get around us, we get relaxed, and everything is like, you know, it's a house party, and I guess they call that the culture. And when we just, you know, what's that word? We just take extra liberties with us, with each other. And so I think that's what that lady was doing, just because it was a black restaurant. She felt comfortable. The drinks were popping, and it hit her, and she started throwing that A in the circle.
Music was popping.
Yeah, the food was delicious, and baby got loose.
Now that food does look delicious, though. I can't even front on that. That fried fish, I'll be talking about that for a good little while.
Oh wow,
Naomi. Well, I mean, you already know pretty much how I feel about it. I believe that we are not necessarily in a situation where we would not, like you said, we will take liberties, I believe, in our own establishments, whether it be comfort level based, whether it be the historical context of things, of us just not honoring and respecting ourselves and those who look like us, whatever that psychosis is. I believe that we are capable of that. Okay. And I also believe that with that same psychosis, we are also capable of walking into a white establishment, that the same restaurant with white ownership, and not behave that way. I believe we are in fact capable of that through that same type of psychosis. Now, that doesn't mean that person is not the same person. If they're ratchet, right? But what I do believe is they know where they can get away with what behavior, right? They know where they can go, or so they thought in this case. They thought, in this behavior, no one will say anything to me. I can do it. But in another environment, I already know this is not acceptable, so I won't try it, right? For whatever their reasons are. I just think that they consciously or subconsciously knew, hey, I could do this here. And when they were challenged by the owner, right, that's when it got interesting. Because when you have to come out 3 times, that means you're being defiant. You heard the correction the first time it came, but in your mind, I'll do what I want to do. I pay my money to eat here, and this is what I want to do. I'm going to do it. Second time, oh, I'm going to be even more defiant. Third time, oh, I'll show you. I'll put my hands on the wall and my feet in your sofa. I'm Rick James, you know. Right?
Pretty much.
So, you know, and so that, to me, that's a conscious, now she may have been inebriated, I don't know, but that's a conscious and deliberate defiance of this brother's authority over his property, over his restaurant, right? And I just don't believe, now, first of all, I think it would have been handled differently. If it were a Caucasian restaurant, they would call police, hands down. There wouldn't, he at least thought enough of them to approach them himself without getting law enforcement involved. But if it were a Caucasian establishment, they may have come and approached them maybe one time. But if it continued after that one time, they would have called the police. They wouldn't have gone back and forth with them like that. And they would have been arrested for lewd and indecent conduct in public, or whatever the charge may have been. So I believe that's my understanding of how this really could have gone down. I think it could have been different because of the fact that it was Black ownership, whether it be because they were comfortable, like Brother Rico was saying, or if it was some sort of psychosis, they felt it was okay to do that. And so I think the question that we have to ask ourselves as a people is, you know, how do we begin to translate into our places of business what is appropriate? You talked about the change of music. Well, what other things could he do to help ensure that that environment is conducive to the type of patrons he desires?
So I have to go back for just a moment.
Oh, sure.
I've worked in University Park probably for, I'm sorry, excuse me. And for those of you who don't know, in Texas, University Park, Highland Park, those places are kind of like, you know, just very well-off areas. I've
Ubered all over there.
I'm sorry?
I've Ubered all over there and picked up some of those little annoying patrons over there. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I've spent about 20 years over there, and I've seen, like, I wouldn't have a job, I guess, if people didn't come in and act up sometimes. You know, I would say a big part of my responsibility would be gone. Because I have seen people come in there of all types. It doesn't matter what the race was, come in there and act crazy. And, you know, and sometimes the police did have to be called. We don't like to call the police out there because it's just not a good look for the establishment. But if you have to, you know, you have to. And I've seen many people of many different races take liberties that they should not have taken for one reason or another. You know, it could be a substance thing where they were drunk or high, or, you know, it could be that's just who they are in any environment. And, you know, I respect that they can be who they are in any environment. You just maybe not going to be accepted in all those places being yourself sometimes, you know?
Right.
So I've seen people come to the restaurant just like they were already at the club, and it was already midnight. And I was a little shocked. I wanted to get them something to put on. So it's just, you know, so I don't think that it's, you know, particular to, you know, us feeling like we're comfortable somewhere or whatever the case may be. I think it's just people being people. And just like when you're a little kid, you know what parent you can act up with, you know what parent you can't act up with. And sometimes you even act up with the parent that you know you can't act up with. It happens. And so and as far as like, what can you do differently? Like I said, I think it really does depend on your management team, your service team, your, you know, your training that you do. That's really going to set the tone for what type of establishment you're running.
I think that he's already put it in motion worldwide that this is how you are to behave when you come to my place. It's been said, right. But he said out loud that the music will change, and I think that's a good idea. It was already established as a classy environment, so it's upon him to set that tone. So those who want to twerk know they cannot come there to twerk. We'll be listening to India R.E., maybe throwing a little Billie Holiday around there somewhere, the Charlie Parker.
Come on
and
now.
If you want to cut, and cut up a little bit, you might throw, a little Nita Baker in there if they want, a little something, if just to, just smooth stuff that brings out the beauty. Yeah, that kind of stuff while you're eating, while you're chewing on your delicious catfish, your delicious fried fish. You'll have Nita Baker going, a little Shaka, smooth R&B. Neo soul music that brings ambiance. A little saxophone here, very soft. Grover Washington Jr. from back. The good stuff. You can't throw that A in the circle and have an expensive menu. You can't do that. They don't go together.
I mean, on the other side of that, I would be offended. If I'm paying top dollar and I think I'm going somewhere elegant, and that comes onto the playlist, I'm like, where am I? What am I doing here? Like, what's happening? And so, and
or
really many,
or if you have your children
Exactly. You're not
Or if
expecting
you have,
that
or if you
there.
have your children, because it's supposed to be somewhat of a family environment, right? It's a restaurant.
Yes.
So can you imagine if, my children were with me and all of a sudden somebody starts doing that? I mean, that's a bit much. That is a
He's
bit
learned
much.
both sides have really learned something from this experience. Trust me.
Absolutely.
Both
That's what I'm
sides.
thinking,
Absolutely.
for sure.
All of us.
I
Yes.
believe this is what did President Barack Obama say? This is one of those teachable moments. This is
Yes.
definitely a teachable moment. And I think also it's important to understand that even as business owners, it's some of it is on the job training, right? So I can imagine that being a new restaurant or relatively new, I don't know how long it's been open. It looks new, it looks brand new, unless they
5
just take
months.
great care of it.
Oh,
It's only 5 months
That's
old.
brand
Okay,
new.
they're still spanking new. They're still trying to get people through the door. They're still trying to, generate interest in the restaurant. So I would really believe that he's kind of trying different things to see what's going to bring people through the door. And the live DJ probably was just an idea to help bring people in. I don't honestly believe that he even consciously thought about that song playing by the DJ necessarily, right? I think it's probably more of what is it that I can do that's going to set my restaurant apart in the midst of a pandemic, is going to cause people to leave their homes and come to my restaurant and patronize my business on a consistent basis, right? And so I think this is a learning experience for him, because now he knows, okay, the DJ, it may have been a good idea, but we're going to have to switch up what kind of music we're playing, because this is bringing an element that is not conducive to the brand of my restaurant. And I think that is a lesson that really all of us as Black business owners can learn from, that we have to be really mindful of the messaging, right, that we're putting forth, and make sure that that messaging aligns with the type of clientele or the type of patrons we desire to have. So I think that's something we can all learn from. One of the other things that I asked Brother Rico a little earlier, Naomi, is I really hope and I pray in the spirit of atonement, because that's what we're taught, regardless of who it is or what the circumstances are, right? So in the spirit of atonement, I really hope and pray that the owner reaches out to that particular woman or women, and with a mediator of some sort, right, to have an atonement session. Look, I didn't appreciate the dancing and all that, but I also understand that I am also half responsible for that behavior, because I created an environment with my music that was unintentional, but it brought that out of you. It didn't bring the best out of you, right? And then that gives her the opportunity, because there's some atonement she got to do too. Hey, you know what? I exceeded the limits. I apologize. I exceeded the limits, whether it is I had too much to drink, or whether it is I didn't have a lot to drink and I just made a really bad choice, a really bad decision. And I appreciate you as a Black business owner trying to bring something nice to our community. And so, I would like to return, and know that when I do return, I will maintain the decorum that you have set in your restaurant. I hope and I pray that that kind of atonement can take place between that business owner and that patron. Because at the end of the day, business is about relationships.
Yes.
It's about relationships between people. And that's the one thing we forget. Other people will tell us it's about the almighty dollar. No, it is about relationships. The money will come, but if that relationship is not intact, you will get nothing. So that's, my final thoughts on this particular topic. I would like to hear your final thoughts. Let's start with the next queen in line, if you don't mind, Brother Rico. And that's Naomi. Do you have any closing remarks? And thank you for joining me.
I appreciate you inviting me. I appreciate it. Closing thoughts are, first of all, for the restaurant owner, just like you're picking out every dish and your carpet and your table and your, you know, whatever, the lights and all that other stuff, don't forget the music. You know, it's all part of the details. It's all part of the details, you know. Don't forget to train your team, you know, as to what type of environment you're going to have. When they're onboarding, they should be completely sucked into the culture. They should be drinking the Kool-Aid, you know, and finding out what type of establishment is being run here. As far as our young ladies, or anybody else.
You're not so young, by the way.
Well, well, the behavior dictates otherwise. But, you know, it's just, you know, just everybody just do what you're supposed to do. Act right. I mean, it's not that hard. You want to throw a house party and stand on your couch with your heels? You are more than welcome. But know that, you know, no matter where you are, conduct yourself in a fashion that you can be proud of yourself the next day. That, you know,
That's
you don't have to, you know, no shame walks and all this other stuff. So, I mean, I think everybody should just conduct themselves in a manner that, you know, that we all should, and respect each other. So that's all for me.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Brother Rico, the king.
Well, just want to say thank you for inviting me again. I had a blast. This was awesome.
Thank you.
I just want to end quickly by saying I think that from this day forth, I think wonderful things are going to happen for that restaurant with all the energy that's coming his way, and the clientele is going to probably double, if not triple.
Awesome.
You know, from going forth. And if I may, I just want to throw out my email address if anybody would like to participate in purchasing the book or the short story, and that's Marico, MARICO _R at yahoo.com. Marico _R at Yahoo. That is if you want making inquiries about the short story I just wrote concerning Dad. And if you need any substance abuse counseling or conversation, hit me with that as well. That same email, and I can email you what I do. Just simple as that. The book, just in case, the book is $10. Cash App $ Black Man Mojo. So if you send it, if you do it through the Cash App, just put an email address, because I can email it right to you as soon as you hit me with the Cash App. And that little, you know, that signature line, put your email address.
Yeah.
And I'll send it right to you as soon as you hit me with the Cash App. Other than that, or PayPal, Rico Rivers, RIVERS. So cool. And that's it. You know, let's move forward and let's all behave like we're supposed to.
That's
in the public.
Brother Rico, can I get the email address one more time? I want to go ahead and notate this so that those who are on Facebook and YouTube can get it. It's MARICO _R. It's MARICO, Marico _R at yahoo.com. Got it. And that is for the ebook.
Yeah, but ebook. And if they want the book, they just, the Cash App is $ Black Man Mojo. As simple as that.
Black Man Mojo.
Yeah, $10, and as soon as they Cash App me, put the email address in the Cash App, so I can send it right to you. I think it's a story that a lot of folks can get into.
Absolutely.
You know, people talk about that all the time.
Oh, and that's something else we'll have to definitely get to at a later date. But I just want to take the time to thank you for joining BBI Talks today, Twerking Culture and Black Business. I think it was a very fruitful conversation. I think we all kind of took a different perspective out of this, and I appreciate you joining and giving your opinion, giving your input and your energy, your spirit. So I have an announcement, y'all. Woohoo! If you don't already know, next Wednesday, December 9th, something magnificent happened in this world, y'all. You guessed it. I was born. It's my birthday next Wednesday. And so
happy early. Happy early birthday.
45. I'm not afraid to say it. Okay. 45 and 5, y'all. 45 and 5. Okay, so and so I have a special show next week for BBI Talks. You know, I'm passionate about Black businesses. I love us. You know what I mean? I love to see us win. I love to see us successful. And so I am going to have an extra special show next week. It is going to be called BBI Talks Presents the Black Business Pop-Up Birthday Bash. Say that 3 times fast. The Black Business Pop-Up Birthday Bash. When I tell y'all don't want to miss this show. You know how Oprah Winfrey used to have My Favorite Thing show? And she would, everybody should say, okay, now look under your seat. Everyone has things, right? Yeah, I'm not doing that because I don't have that kind of money.
I was going to ask, am I getting a car?
Yeah, man, can we get in on that?
I'm not doing all that. But you will get to have this wonderful day of just Black-owned businesses that are going to pop up on my show, and they're going to talk about their businesses, and you can support them. Okay, they're going to tell you how you can get in contact with them. I'm going to be wearing some. I don't want to give it away, but there's going to be some of this going on. So you're going to have to check the hands out. Okay, you're going to have to check the hair out. Okay, because there's going to be some great things going on with these businesses, and just celebrate our businesses, y'all. You know, we got to stop spending our money with other people when we've got people in our own community that can provide these wonderful products and wonderful services. And you may see some repeats, you may see some people you've seen before, but you're definitely going to see a lot of new people that are going to be on board. And so I've got Black businesses that are coming through with programs for the youth, for sciences and technology and innovation and homeschooling support. Oh my gosh, who needs that?
Pretty cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got businesses on, ladies, sisters. Aren't you tired of wearing all these toxic nail polish and all of that? I have a sister coming on next week who makes her own non-toxic nail polish. What?
Wow.
Oh, when look, all of this is going to be done, y'all. All of this is going to be done. So that's next week. Please join me, 3 o'clock, same venues as this week, whether it be on Instagram Live, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, and we are going to enjoy ourselves. It's going to be a party. I'm going to have some cake. If you can get here, I am telling you where I live, but if you can get here, you can get a slice of cake. But it's all taking place next week. And if you just want to hop on and just wish a sister a happy birthday and extend some prayers and some well wishes and some advice, I will receive that too. Feel free to also leave it in the comment section and in the various platforms. Okay. So without further ado, one more thing. I want to also let you know, if you would like to sponsor this show, we do have some sponsorship opportunities available. It's for a very, very nominal rate, and it covers you for the month. Can you imagine 1 full month of nonstop promotion on this show? You can't beat that with a stick, y'all, right? So if you're interested in that, Year of Lotus, that's YEAROFLOTUS@gmail.com, or you can DM me on my various platforms, and one of my representatives will get back with you. Probably somebody from my little God squad, right? So with that said, without further ado, thank you. I'm so humbled and so honored that you joined me today, because you could have been doing anything else than be here with me in this show. So I thank you. I thank you for tuning in, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I want to thank Brother Ooyiman for this banging promo. I mean, he really just lit this thing up, y'all. So feel free to dance along as we close out this show, BBI Talk.
We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad, they gotta react, cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man, get what I need out the land. The earth is the kingdom of God. Glad that I know where I am. We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad, they gotta react, cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man, I can supply you the man. Get what I need out the land. Glad that I know where I am.